I'm gonna record it too, just in case something happens, and then you don't have to worry about it, okay?
Great, thank you.
That's awesome. Yeah, thank you so much.
All right, okay. All right, I think I'm ready. Welcome, thank you all for coming. Do I do that to Sally usually?
That's fine.
Take it off?
Yeah.
Do you mind if I take my mask off, Jody?
I'm fine.
Okay, all right, I'll scoot over here. I just,
Oh, thank you. That would be so helpful.
okay. I'm okay with that if you are, and well, you're far away.
Well, you've got the people as long as your people are okay.
All right. Okay, so welcome, thank you. If you need to just have me on your screen, just click on the box where I'm shown right here, and it'll take over so you don't see the other people if you
Right, I've got you just on my screen.
Okay, all right, okay. So I can see both of you lovely ladies, and Jody here is off to the side. Okay, so welcome. Thank you for taking the class. It's really fun. I would be wearing mine today. I've knit three, but it's too warm. But this is the class sample that was online, and I'll bring the other ones next week to show you what I did. But we all know it's gorgeous.
It is gorgeous.
What I think is, let me see, and I'm sorry if I stumble. It's been, this is my first Zoom class, so I'm sorry if I stumble and, you know, okay.
You're here
It's been
teaching.
a long time, but
Yeah.
this is a different thing for me. So I apologize in advance. So the shift is an amazing piece, but it's knit totally different than we think it is. And I stumbled, I made a big mistake. I was knitting along and it was beautiful. And all of a sudden the corner, I thought, oh my gosh, what have I done? I've done something wrong, because I thought it was starting from the bottom. And it's not. It's actually starting way up here on, I believe, this corner, and then knitting. So you're gonna run into some shaping, which is kind of weird. But I've done a template just to start us out, to get it in our heads where we're going. And here it is. If you have the pattern handy, if you would look at the diagram that she's got on page like 8 or 9 or something. And I just cut it out so I could bend it and show you a little bit better what it looks like. You're actually starting in a corner and then doing it this way.
Oh, I
And
see.
see how it changes right here?
Yeah.
And of course, you're not going to worry about that yet, because it'll happen later on, but just beware. A lot of this is just, you know, projecting forward a little bit.
I got you.
This is exactly what it looks like. Okay. And if you see where I got the colors shown, what I did is I kind of showed where the different colors line up. Which brings me to the fact of, you can plan the colors. You can look through the pattern and plan them out as you go, or you can just dig in your bag and start knitting with whatever triggers you in the moment. You can do it either way. You can do it, you know, plan, or wing it. Either way, it's going to turn out really, really nice. So this is what we're going to be knitting. This is the whole in its entirety. And then what you're doing is you're folding this back and seaming it up.
Got it.
So that's kind of a 3D, you know, what you're going to do. My reason for showing you this is not only that I messed up and I, you know, freaked out because I did it, but when you're in the beginning portion, there's a lot going on. That setup round of 6 rows is pretty darn intense, and there's not a lot of stitches on the needle yet. So my bottom line is, don't worry too much, because you're going to be folding this and it's going to be along the seam anyways. And you start, yep.
Thank you. That's a good
thing.
thing.
Back and your hair, you know, your hair might cover it. Nobody's going to know. So relax. It's fine. We'll all be good. So, and I'll get a little bit into that in a minute, as far as the increases that you want to use and choose. The pattern says make one. We can wing it for the first few rows. Nobody's going to know. It's not going to matter. So we can choose something else if you want to do that. But so anyways, that's where we're headed. Okay. Let's see here. I think one of the most important things to know is, especially in the beginning, it's very intense. So you want to focus, you want to really do it bit by bit, and we'll walk through it together. The one thing that I think is the most important is to mark your right side row. Once we get going and I walk through the stitches first, how to do each one of them, then we're going to take a look and you can start your project. And I think it works out better. In the past, it's worked out better because people were confused about where to put the yarn, et cetera, et cetera. So, but marking the right and the wrong side once we get going is really important. Okay, are we ready to take a look at some of these stitches?
Yes.
All right, awesome. All right. You're a good group so far. So eager. Okay. Yeah, we could talk about a little bit of the color more. So, all right. The first portion, let's see if we go. If you go to the setup round page and kind of look at it, it says right off the bat, it says you will increase every right side row. So that's where all the action is. That's where all the stuff that you're going to change, colors, blah, blah, blah. So again, I think it's good, excuse me, to mark the right side. If you see the first row, it said on the right side, you're going to knit in the front and the back and the front. Okay, this is what that's going to look like. I'm going to switch views here to show you my hands, what I'm doing. There we go. Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And if I'm holding it up or down or too far, let me know. Give me feedback so I know if this is working. And I'll try to do this for Jody too. I'm just going to knit a couple of stitches. Can you see that okay?
Yes.
Is that okay? Okay. So what we're doing is we're doing an increase knit front and the back, which is typical increase. I used it for years. So you go knit in the front and you knit in the back stitch, but this one is double. So we just go back right into the front of the stitch again and hook it around. And there you've got 2 into 1 stitch, and then you can take it off. That makes sense? Mm-hmm. Okay, you got it? Can you see that over there? Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm going to do it one more time. Knit in the front and the back. Pretty straightforward, but it's, you know, and so many of these, you read them and they're so confusing until you see them. So there we go. So that's that first direction on the row 1. You're knitting in the front and the back and the front. Easy peasy. So far.
You're knitting into your cast off row right away, huh? You're increasing right away into that.
Yes, you are. Yeah. But I'm just showing you a mock-up. So, but yeah, we'll get into that and we'll walk through that. And then it says slip 3 with yarn in front. Well, in this case, you're bringing your working yarn to the front of the work, which means between you and the needle, and you slip 3. 1, 2, 3. You're just slipping them as if to purl. That happens a lot on the edges because you're knitting an I-cord border in at the very end. Okay, everybody on board with that one?
Yes.
Which means with yarn in back, which would be after, you know, past the needle and in the back of the work, then you can slip however many you need to slip. So you've got with yarn in front, with yarn in back.
Okay.
So there we go. So let's see, I'm going to just knit to the end here. So you got those down. I always like to tell my students, if you can practice new techniques like this before you get to the actual work, because it's just easier. We all want to get started knitting, but sometimes we have to stop and work things out in our head before we just plunge into it. And in this particular instance, I find this works better for my students because that's what they tell me. So it works out good. Okay, I just want to knit to the end here. And then we're going to tackle the increase of make one right and make one left. And of course, I have a little trick to avoid that if you like. I do sock classes. And the sock classes I do, a lot of them start at the toe up, and there's very few stitches on the needle at that point because there's, you know, you're just beginning. So I do a little trick. Instead of a make one or a more difficult increase that takes more yarn, I just do a lovely backwards loop on the needle. And I find that it helps because nobody's going to see it again, which harkens back to what I said about the seam line in yours.
It doesn't leave a hole?
It doesn't, because no, it doesn't.
No.
No, it doesn't really. But the make one tends to leave a hole if you do it incorrectly, because it is a yarn over from the previous row. So let's see, row number 2, that's easy. Slip one with yarn and back. We walked through that. Let's look at the make one right. Make ones are using the strand, if you can see this, between the stitches, right? Okay. I don't like those because I have a real hard time craning this down and picking it up and blah, blah, blah. So I would say just do a backwards loop onto the needle if you choose to. If not, go ahead and do whatever increase or decrease you like. Again, I don't think it matters in the seam, just the first few rounds, if you do knit to the left or knit to the, or increase left or increase right. I don't think that's a big deal when you're first starting. However, when and if you want to, because it's always knitter's choice, right? No knitting police. It's all about what works for you. So if I'm going to use this strand right here, I always forget which way it leans depending on which way you scoop it up. So I'm going to show you a trick. I'm going to rock this forward awkwardly. If I go in through the front to the back, do you see on the left needle where it's the strand is actually leaning to the left? Can you see that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that indicates, yes, Leslie? Oh, okay. That indicates that this way, if you scoop it from the front to the back, it's going to be a left leaning increase. So you don't have to remember which way all the time. You can look and see which way the yarn is leaning, which is, I think, tremendously helpful. And other way, here it is, and see how that strand is now leaning to the right.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how'd you pick that one up, from the back?
That was from the back to the front, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And then, of course, let's go back here. So now that we know which way it is, we can knit through the back loop. Here's a left leaning. So we knit through the back of the loop there, and that'll twist it and it'll cover the hole. And that was the left one, and this is the right one. I'm going to scoop it up that way. And again, we lift through the back to tighten up the hole. Kind of awkward, but there you go. So that's your tip, and being able to recognize which way those make ones go without memorizing the whole scoop back, scoop forward, and whatever. Any questions so far? We're good?
I'm still stuck on the knit front, back front.
Oh, okay. All right. Let's show you that again. Are you okay? You're good?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let me see if I can get some of this stuff. Are you having trouble seeing the yarn? Is this a
No, I can see it. I just have to, I just can't, I just didn't see
Okay.
what the first step was.
All right.
Wait, okay. You
Yeah,
just
wait, I'm gonna, hang on. Okay,
Okay.
here we go. Yeah, I just wanted to get over there in the sample. So you're going to knit in the front. Okay, knit in the front.
So knit in the front is actually like knitting.
Correct.
Okay,
You're not going
Alright.
to take, but you're not going to take it off of the needle.
correct.
You're
Got
going
it.
to go right into the back of the stitch now,
The back of the stitch, right?
just like a regular knit in front and the back and a regular increase.
Right.
But again, you're not going to take it off the needle, and you're going to go into the front one more time.
And each time you're looping the yarn on your right,
You can, yes, yeah, you can pull it. You don't want it so tight that you can't, manipulate it. So, and then when you have the 3, then you can take off. Should I do it again?
Yeah, hold on, wait 1 second. I think I got it, but yeah, you're right, it's tight, so.
It is tight, so you just kind of want to loosen it up, and you know it's coming, but yeah, just loosen it up and try it. You're good.
All right, let's try it, hold on. Try it again.
Okay.
To the right,
One in the
okay.
front.
Got the-
Right
And then
into the back
back.
again,
Gotcha, I saw your turn, okay,
and then one more time into the front,
great.
and then off.
Gotcha, okay.
You do it the 1, 2, 3 times. So it's
Yeah.
just one extra. I spent years making one increase, the knit in the front and knit in the back, because that's all I knew. So this is just one step further than that.
Right.
So, okay. All right. Now we cover then lesson 3. Oh yeah. Well, this is kind of easy now too. If you look at row number 3 in the setup round, the last 3 stitches, it says slip 3 with yarn in front. So I'm going to knit down to that point. Going to pull it forward, and I'm just going to slip these 3. I end up doing the first 2 together and then 1. You can do all 3. I think she mentioned somewhere you should slip the 3 individually, but I'm like, whatever. And what will happen is then when you turn it around on the other side, you're going to be knitting those first, but that's okay. Where you see it crossing here,
Right.
okay, that's fine. That's all right. That's okay. Because that'll be the next thing, or it'll be a slip or something. But what you're doing in essence is creating an I-cord bind off, or a border, I should say.
Oh, that's right. I do remember that. Okay. I
So,
started this and
all right.
got about 2 inches.
So, yeah, I know. And don't feel bad if you start it multiple times. I honestly can't tell you how many times I started my second and my third one, because I guess I just wasn't in the mood at that particular time or something, or I was making it more difficult. And it is, like I said, there's a lot going on with few stitches, and you're like, what am I doing? That's why I think if I showed you what to do before we actually get there, it might be a little easier. How are you doing, Leslie?
I'm doing good. I had to miss just 5 minutes, but I took care of what I did. So
That's fine. All right.
Yep.
All right. Oh,
I started it too, so it looks vaguely
right.
familiar.
You said you were really struggling, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I think I ripped out twice.
Don't
Section
feel bad
1,
though.
gave up.
No.
Yeah,
Well, I wanted to come back and then COVID, so couldn't come back.
All right. So let's see.
the slip 3 thing, I just had a pattern for a little gator I was making for my sister, and it had that slip 3 at the end, and then restarting the row. I thought, oh my gosh, this can't be right or anything.
But it is.
makes a nice little
It
border.
does. It makes kind of like a rolled edge,
Yeah.
and I don't know if you can really
Yeah.
see it very well here, but yep, it just, and then all of a sudden, there's some wild, crazy things. And I want to show you a little trick, keeping your place. If you have an iPad, are any of you using an iPad to follow the pattern?
No, I'm using
No?
paper.
No? Okay,
Old
never
school.
mind. We'll skip that part.
I'm
It
using
can
the
help you in the
iPad
past,
to Zoom.
you know. All
You're
right.
zooming. I'm zooming with iPad.
So are we ready? Leslie, is there anything that I can go over that you think that you missed as far as the beginnings? Maybe I can show you?
Well, can you just show me the knit front, back, front?
Absolutely, yeah, that's the tough one, right? Okay,
I know,
Yeah.
I love it. That's mine, Leslie. I'll
That's
see that
okay.
again.
that's all right. Let's whip it up real quick here. That's why we're here. We're here to learn, so.
Oh, and then there's the make one right and make one left. Okay.
All right.
Yeah, the make one,
When you,
right, make one left. I love repetitions. Repetition's good.
oh, good, okay, good. Hey, I can do this all day. Okay, that's why I'm here. Okay. So, knit in, you're gonna knit into the front of the stitch. You knit into the back of the stitch. See where I'm going in the back loop?
Okay.
Okay. And then instead of taking it off like a regular decrease, or increase, you're gonna go into the front of the stitch again.
Okay.
And then around.
That,
And then once you've got those 2 extra loops in there, then you can take it off. So you've increased twice. I'll do it one more time for you.
Okay.
You're doing it in, front, back,
yeah.
and front again. And we were talking about it gets kind of tight, so you got to kind of think a little bit of that. The good news is I think that happens maybe once in the whole pattern, maybe twice. I don't know. I don't remember having to do it a lot. So,
Oh, I see. Okay.
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 So, all right. Did somebody say they wanted to see the make one again?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Yes. Okay. All right, we'll do that too. Sorry. All right. Let's see if I can. Should have had maybe some other ones knit up, but we'll do little ones. Okay, so let me just get this here. And I was suggesting too, using maybe a backwards loop or some other kind of increase at the very beginning, because there's not a lot to go on in here at all. So we're going to go to the second stitch here. And this is the yarn where we're going to make the one. You see that running through?
Mm-hmm.
Or between the stitches. Normally it says pick it up from the back to the front with the left needle. Well, I'm really not very good with that, but there it is. Okay. Now, the struggle with make ones usually is, which way is this leaning? Is this leaning to the left or the right? What am I doing? Well, if you notice, depending on how you scoop it up from the front to the back, see this? It actually leans to the left on your needle. See that?
Yep.
Yeah, Leslie?
Yep.
Yep.
Yes, I do.
So
Yep.
that means you're working with the left leaning increase. So then you can knit it through the back loop, because that's how you do a make one.
Oh, knit it to the
And you
back loop.
tighten up the hole. And there you go. And this is kind of sloppy, messy, but I'll do one more and we'll go to the right. Okay, I'm cheating and I'm using my right hand. So if I would scoop this up from back or front to back, see how it leans to the left?
Yeah.
And then if I go the other way, see how this leans to the right. That's how I know which way I'm going. And then this one, instead of working in the back, you work in the front. It's the difficult one. So then you go like this, whoops, knit into the front, so you twist the stitch, and that, oh, one more time. And this is why I don't like make ones, because I'm not very good at them. Oh, come on. Sometimes it's so easy to split sometimes. There we go. And then you just pull it through and you've got your make one. And it's twisted so it'll cover up the hole. But I learned that in class a few years ago, and it was so easy. Just to let me know which way the yarn was leaning, so I didn't have to remember anything. I could just read my knitting and look at my work and see which way it went in that.
So knitting, when they say make one left, you just want to be sure then where you're picking up is leaning to the left, the stitch,
Bingo, right.
the new
Right.
stitch.
Instead of having to remember which way to scoop it, front to back to right, blah, blah, blah. And then there's the way that I like to do it. I'm all about easy, and I really like making things quick and easy. And if I had to make, especially in a seam like this where there's not a lot of stitches yet, I just make a backwards loop onto the needle. Ta-da! You can do it with your thumb, and you kind
Do
of
you
have
do
to
it
work it out.
For make left, for make one left, but make one right?
Well, there's two different ways to do this. So you'd actually have to scoop it up and go this way or the right way. It's right and left, it's backwards. But what I'm just saying is that if you don't want to futz with the make one in the very beginning, like here when there's very few stitches yet, what you can do is you can do a backwards loop, or even, and then I would probably just make a backwards loop and not worry about which way it faced just yet.
Okay.
Because once you get like an inch or so, I think then it kind of matters. So I'm just saying that don't worry too much about the left and the right in the very beginning. But
Okay.
if you're really particular, which I know a lot of you are, go for it and do it exactly as the pattern says. But nobody's gonna, you know, there's no police or anything, so you're good no matter what you do. Okay, let me check my notes in a second here. I'll pop my face back on here. Sorry, I forgot about that. So you saw, there we go. Sorry about that. I disappeared for quite a while there. So if I color code the line, that's okay, keep track, yep. Mark right or wrong side, yep, carry new color. Oh, one thing too, once we get to adding the second color, we'll cover that when we get there, if we get that far. Yeah, and, ooh, one more thing about making life easier. We all have busy lives, we all have to Zoom, and we have phones and kids and dogs and cats and whatever. So what I suggest is once you've done a particular section and the stitch count is fine and it looks beautiful and you know exactly that it's perfect, put a lifeline in.
I just learned about lifelines. New idea.
Are you familiar with lifelines?
No.
Now I
No?
know.
Okay. Are you familiar with lifelines a little?
I never used them.
You've never used them? Okay.
We talked about it one class I took, but
Okay,
I never
all
did
right.
it.
And a
So-
lot of people choose not to. I like it when I'm transitioning between two areas and I
Yeah.
figure, what, you know, if I totally mess up this next, like on a sock heel, what am I going to do to try to remember, and, you know, if I have to rip back. So what a lifeline is, Leslie, is a piece of yarn or dental floss, or I use fingering weight a lot because it's a lot smaller usually than what I'm knitting, except for socks. And then I'll use dental floss, not mint, so the cat gets it. So what you do is you can take a tapestry needle, okay, and you run through, you have your stitches on your cable needle, and you just take the string or whatever and glide them through all of your stitches. Leave it hang, don't take it out, just leave it. Continue with your work. So let's say in 10 rounds, you really make a mess out of the next 2 inches of knitting, but you have 4 inches that you know is perfect. You can take everything off of your needle and rip back to that lifeline, and that lifeline is going to hold your stitches so you don't have to worry about going past. Oh. It's especially, you know, when you're transitioning, like if I'm trying a new sock heel and it's not working out, I can just rip back and redo the sock heel instead of you know, losing and going back too far. It's exactly what it is. It's like a lifeline. Some needles like this here, I'll show you. I'll switch views again. Some needles actually have a little hole. See that little hole in there?
Oh,
You can put a lifeline through there, and then as you're knitting, you're placing it through.
Oh.
how nice.
It's very, very convenient. The bad thing about it is when you go back to knit the second row, you have to make sure that you're not knitting in the lifeline itself. So you have it all coiled. It's got to be straight. It's got to sit at the bottom of the stitch all the way across. So that's why it's easy to place it on the cord and then put it through if you don't have this little hole.
Right.
But that's also a tightening hole, but I love it. I saw needles the other day that had a drill on one side and it was closed on the other side. So I thought, oh, how did that happen? Yeah, it was interesting, but funny. So place lifelines if you need to. Don't worry about, you know, and I always tell my students, use the tools that are out there. You don't always have to wing it. A lot of people don't believe that they need the help or they need the stitch markers or they need to mark it. And then they come in and they ask, oh no, what did I do? And I said, well, you know, if you mark the right side versus the wrong side, that would be just a key, you know, when you're looking at your work to say, this is the right side. So I know I'm going to have to increase, or you can mark the easy side, which I've done in the past. It's all purl. You know, when you do lace or whatever, one row sometimes is all purl straight across. That's the easy road. So I've also marked that one. So it's just up to you how you use the tools, but use them.
How do you do that? How do you tell the right side and left and wrong side for the shift?
Well, we'll get to that in a minute.
Okay, I'm sorry.
And we're starting. Okay. If you'll excuse me for 1 minute, I need some water because I've been.
Sure.
I'll be right back. Okay, thank you. Excuse me, wasn't prepared. Didn't come in at the All right. So now let's see. I'm just gonna see a little bit. If you take a look at your pattern, we have quite a few beautiful pictures. I love her green one. I just love that. And I love the way she's wearing it. It's so classy and it's very warm too. You could certainly do this in a lighter. I know one of our my coworkers did it in fingering weight, and it was gorgeous. Wow. It's real light, but she did it, excuse me, so much bigger, but it was lovely, and so that's what she did. And I think she used bigger needles though, so it was almost had a lacy effect. It was really cool, but yet you saw the play and the texture. They talk about considerations for color, and we talked a little bit about that. And again, you can take it to the extreme either way. Who cares? I'm just going to grab a color with my eyes closed versus, you know, planning it out. So you can do either way. But what I did here is I have this again, okay? And see where the different colors lie, like in the different sections, okay? All right. Let me see if I wrote this somewhere. That's from her, that's from her, that's from her. Well, anyways, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are good representations as far as percentages of it. But I would say if you want to frame your face, you're going to kind of focus and choose colors that you want in sections 4, 5, and 6, I think. Let me see if that's correct. I could be way off base here, but I have that written somewhere. I'm sorry I don't have it with me. But I think that's it. And you can kind of see where, let's see, she says in the pattern that color A is what will frame your face. So if you love pink and you want the pink, you know, use it for your A. It'll start and end with this color, so it's on the very end of the work. And think, like I showed you how it's folded. Sometimes you can figure it out, and sometimes not. But this is what she says. And think of A as your background color. May I borrow your gorgeous crazy there? Yep. Oh, I'm not going to pull it off, I promise.
It's fine.
So she's got this gorgeous color here, and she's going to use that for her A color, which is the twist. It's the barber pole color, and it's the twist.
Yeah.
So that's going to be her main or her background color.
This is my main,
For the
and I've got this for my
Yeah,
B.
exactly. Beautiful.
And then,
And if you wanted a darker color, I've never done not this, so I'm not, but absolutely, exactly.
was
Anything, and the contrast is good. You know, you're happy with the colors. Again, I think honestly and truthfully, I've seen one that I thought was ugly.
no,
And
you
I'll
didn't
tell you
tell
why, that's terrible to say, but I'll be honest. It was the color choice. It was like, oh gosh, I hope nobody chose these colors. It was like pink, black, gray, and yellow.
Ooh.
And I was just like, ugh. I mean, I just personally, that was like, ooh, no, ugly, ugly. Other than that, I've never seen it. Oh, and I also want to share this little story. I had my first class, and one woman wanted to replicate this one identically.
oh,
Well, if you know, and you probably do, especially with the crazy being, they're all unique. You can't, is the bottom line. But she wanted to use a close color. Now this wasn't even planned as a class. This was a personal item I knit out of scrap yarn. So that's what I had. So, but I used the crazy 2 different colors and then the 2 different colors of whatever else I had. I liked it. She wanted to replicate it. We had a discussion. She ended up sitting down and she was real particular about setting it out and doing this and doing it. And she was really adamant about using it and coming out. And so she ended up picking, well, out of all of my students, she ended up totally winging it. And she had what I think in that first class, the prettiest one. And I think part of that is because you don't necessarily plan, you don't have that stress factor going on. And I know that's what I did with this one. So I didn't plan it. The one that I did plan is okay, but I'm kind of like, oh, I don't know, it could be better here, it could be better there. So I just think that that's a perfect example of somebody just letting it go and grabbing whatever they wanted and loving it and not worrying about it.
Yeah, so say with the multicolored here, you get to a section and maybe you don't like what you're supposed to use B or C, and you could just grab another color.
You can't. I call that, did you hear what Jody was saying?
no.
She was saying that because there's so many colors in the crazy, that you can easily, if you don't like the green and the orange together, you know what? Snip it and save it and rewind the ball and use it later. You can do that. I call it color editing. And I do that a lot. I don't like sometimes I have like purple and brown together, and purple and browns are almost identical as far as their quality, their hue quality. So I didn't want to do that. So, but yep, snip, snip. Oh yeah, well, I'll use that later. And then the green would look great with the purple over here. So I think I'm going to do that instead. So color editing is your friend. Absolutely. So, and it's the, one more thing about that is on the, I post my stuff on Ravelry a lot. And the one that I did that was the most neutral, like that's kind of boring almost. The real light colors, they're brown and tan and beige and just real, those are the ones, I've got more likes on those than even this one and the other one, the blue and the green one that I did. So it's kind of funny. It's just,
Yeah.
well, it's all over. And,
That's funny.
but, yeah, I would like to do a gray, like a black and a white. I think that would be kind of cool, but I don't know exactly how I would do that. I have a black coat this year, so I thought, no. See, now you got me thinking of doing another one. Thanks. Because 3 isn't enough. I can't even wear them today. Okay. So, let's see, just a few hints and tips before we start, because I know you're probably just itching to get going. And there's a lot of information, but I think with a little bit of a background, it's easier to jump in. And I know that people struggle with this. I know a wonderful lace knitter, and she came in and she's like, I just can't do this. Yeah, you can. It's cool. So focus as you start the pattern. Even if you have to like block out section by section, scratch it out, cross it out, rewrite it if that helps you. And it's only 6 rows, but it's a pretty intense 6 rows. Use a stitch marker again to mark the right side of your work, and that'll come up. Actually, it's row number 1, Mary Beth. It's row number 1. That's what it says, right side. Whoops. And color code the different instructions on the pattern. If you have an iPad, which we discussed that, not applicable in our situation. And I have a bind off video to show you once we get there, and a good mattress stitch video. I go through and I glean a lot of the videos because some of them on YouTube are wonderful, and depending on how far we get, we'll cover it too. But some of them are absolutely wonderful, and some of them are like, why did you even bother? They're terrible. You can't see. And they're like, that's why I was so careful down here with the, you know, because I want everybody to see, and this is my first shot at this. So let's do that. So is everybody ready to head into it and start your engines? Yeah. Okay. So now that we've got all of that, blah, 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 running around in your head, and I'm going to kind of sort of knit along with you, but not really, because I just grabbed this for show and tell. So you want to cast on those 4 big stitches. And remember, doesn't have to be perfect. You're going to be mattress stitching these together anyways. But if you're like me, you cast on 2 or 3 different times till it's right, or till it looks nice, till it's good. And this is another reason too that I tell people, sometimes it's best to just take scrap yarn and practice a stitch a few times, because you get frustrated and you don't want to, wear out the yarn that you're working with. So anyways, we've got color A. So whatever you choose for your color A, which is basically the background and the one you're going to use most, you're going to cast on 4, and then you're going to turn it around. And here's your question answered, Mary Beth. This is now your right side of the work.
I see that.
So what I want you to do, and I had one with me, but I probably, here, I'll just use this. Yeah. I would say mark the right side of the work, even if it's just temporary. If you use a piece of, like I'm going to use a paper clip, and I'm just going to hang it there for now. I can always move it up later, but I'm going to just tell myself, because Jenny has a memory of a gnat now. I used to be really smart. But I'm aging and I'm losing my memory, and it's terrible. It's like, what was I going to do in this room? So I'm going to mark my front row right away.
Can you put it on your,
Yeah.
I just put it on, you know what? I just put it on the beginning, anywhere that it'll fit right now. Because again, there's only one loop, so it's really hard to. Hello. Oh. We have a new puppy. Not me, but shop owner.
We do.
We do. Oh my God. I was going to say, please don't come in very class. Oh my God.
let me see. Oh,
Isn't he cute?
When? December.
Oh,
I lost my dog in September.
I'm getting a burner in 2 weeks.
Oh, are you?
Yeah, yeah. From Hartford.
Oh,
My goodness.
beautiful. It's gonna be a big dog.
How old is
It's
she?
gonna be huge.
Oh, Duffy. Hi, son.
Oh, this is Jacob.
Oh, yeah, and hi, Wendy.
Oh, yeah.
I know, isn't
Oh, geez, I'm dead.
How old is he?
So chill. He
Oh.
barked one time at my in-laws cats, I guess.
Suppose everybody's fighting over him.
Not yet. He's mine, and I'm very adamant about that.
Yeah, oh, yeah, that's right.
We're not yet fighting over him.
Oh, yeah.
We'll have to see. Yeah.
I don't know, did you see how much he weighed? We just had him at the vet.
No.
I know, he's adorable. I'm
Oh, my
so
God.
thrilled.
Look at him. I can tell by your eyes. You're Are you sleeping?
Yeah, this is what he's been like since we got here.
He just sleeps.
I'm so happy to be home. Oh, my gosh, so cute.
Yep.
Come hanging out.
Brandon,
I
I-
didn't tell you yet.
I saw the picture of her.
Oh, did you?
Yeah,
Okay.
I just saw him outside.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a girl black lab he's getting
Yeah.
in a few weeks. So, where are you getting your burner from?
Platteville.
Okay,
Okay.
my burner.
Sorry, puppies, puppies are
I know.
over
Breeders in
the
Hartford.
everything. All right, so
Spring.
let's do this. Let's knit into the front and the back stitch, and then into the front again. So we're doing, oops, wait a minute, I'm sorry.
Can you show, yeah,
Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Oh, geez.
I'm confused. But can you show your needles? And then,
I'm sorry?
Last year.
Yep, go ahead. Okay.
I'll let you guys shoot.
Okay, what do we do?
there we go.
I'll shut up.
Puppies, I know, gosh. Puppies, kittens, whatever.
Now we're
Okay,
doing
so
that
you
first.
knit in the, we're just doing the very first one. And I really do think that this is the only one that you do. I can't even remember, but, okay, so into the front, into the back, and then into the front again. And I just pull the working yarn a little bit to make it easier, because I'm all about easier. Don't want to be strangled that it's so hard to pull.
Right,
You know, and then it says with yarn in front. So
front.
the yarn in front, you slip 3 stitches. 1,
Correct.
2, 3. There we go.
My shadow.
Got it.
All right.
So we have 6 stitches on the needle.
We've 6 stitches, right? Now the second row, which is in the back of the work or the wrong side. Oop, let me hang on a second. I want to
The collar is super heavy, and I've only put on it today.
get my highlighter row so I know where and now knit 3, and again you're going to be crossing those 3 that you just slipped, but that's okay. That's fine. That's normal. And
Knit 3, purl 3.
yeah. Knit 3 and then purl 3, I believe, right?
Yep.
Purl 3. There we go. I swear when I first saw that puppy, he was like this big, and now he's, whoa, he's huge. Okay, so now we're on number 3. So are we good? Are we good?
Hold on, just finishing up second row.
I have 7 stitches. Uh-oh.
Are we ready? Good?
All right, we have 6 stitches. Okay.
Okay, so we did that. Now we're heading back. We're gonna slip 1 with yarn and back. And again, you're just gonna leave it back there as if, and just slip it to purl so it doesn't come forward or anything.
Right.
We're gonna knit 1, so there we go. Now here's that make 1 that we can choose to do or not, and it's gonna go to the right. So I'm gonna scoop it from the back to the front. I use my right needle because I can't twist my needle downward enough, and then I'm going to knit into the front to cover the hole. Okay,
All right. Or I can just do the,
I'm sorry.
I'm going to do just the yarn over. Okay.
That's fine. Okay, that's fine. And then on the other row, what you would do is you'd knit through the back to tighten that
Okay.
yarn over. Okay.
And then knit 1.
we have knit one, and then we have make one left. And I'm going to just make a loop that goes to the left over here. And I'm not going to worry about it. And then you're going to slip 3 again with the
yarn in front.
So you bring it forward and then you slip it there. There we go. All right, lovely.
Okay.
And good old number 4.
2, 4, 6.
I do like the fact that once you work through the setup and you're on section 1, et cetera, there's a definite pattern to what's going on. And you'll probably see that pretty up close and personal pretty well. So knit 3, purl to end. All right. Okay, and let's see.
Hold on.
Yep, that's okay. I'm just flipping over and tugging and whatever. We should have 8 stitches.
I will see. When I'm
She's
done.
okay, you got 8? Leslie?
So I ended up with 7 when I was supposed to have 6, so I'm just a row behind you. I'm still
Okay.
trying to make one right. So slip 1 with yarn and back, knit 1. Oops. Knit 1.
Okay. And I see some holes here in my own. I'm not going to worry about those because oftentimes they just disappear once you block your work. So I'm not
Sure.
going to be worried about all of that just yet. So, and again, it could be the fact that there's so much going on that it just looks kind of funny. But again, it's going to be in the back of your neck. Who's going to know? Or way up here.
Right.
And trust me too, it's so stunning. Who's going to be looking at the seam, right?
Right.
They're all going to be like, "Oh, it's so pretty," and so. And I mean, I don't mean to be lackadaisical about it, but you know.
No, I appreciate that. And I also moved my marker so it's up more.
Yeah,
Now
it's not a
it's on
big deal.
the right side.
Okay, so we've got 8, all right,
8, right.
and now we're on row 5, right?
Mhm.
There. Okay. Oops. All right. So we slip 1 with the yarn and back again. Now you notice that we did that already. So we just slip it over and you're knitting 1
Right.
and then you make 1 right, however you choose to do that, or you don't have to do it right and left. That's fine. Again. And
Last
we're
3 stitches.
knitting to the last 3 stitches. And this is where I want you to just make sure that you focus, because so far I'm thinking, oh, that's, you knit to the last 3 and you slip, but they sneak in a make 1 to the left. So you're going to make 1 to the left, then you're going to slip the 3 with the yarn in front.
Gotcha.
So there can be subtle differences in each row that you just really have to follow and focus and make sure that you don't take anything for granted. And there is a special, I probably have it written down somewhere. There's it happens much later, like maybe in section 5, that all of a sudden you're doing something different. It's like down to 2 instead of 3 or something along those lines. So it's kind of hard to, so you just have to pay attention and focus a little bit. And this isn't necessarily the worst, the dumbest knitting I've ever done. So, all right. And now we have row 6, knit 3 and purl to the end.
All right.
And if you look at it, once you get down there too, when you finish those first 3, you can see how it's kind of curling around the edge there and making kind of a pretty border. Oops, sorry. Okay. 10 stitches on the needle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Awesome. But see how that looks on the edge there? It's got a little round, like the stockinette kind of wraps around. I like that. I like that. All right. A little bit here, get everybody on the right thing.
Yes. Woohoo!
All right, looks good. Oh.
Hold on. I'm almost there.
Second color. All right, take your time. You got time. What time is it? I don't even know.
11.
Oh, wow, we're way far ahead. We're good. We're good. Puppy, oh my God. So you have a Bernese, huh, Mountain Dog?
It's coming.
Burner coming?
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, she's going big with the Pyrenees, Great Pyrenees and wow. Yeah. Almost won me over to dogs. Almost. I love dogs. Don't get me wrong, but if I were to go in and pick out a dog, I'd come home with a cat. No, so I'm definitely a hardcore cat person. I love dogs, so I've had some really great dogs in my life. So, but yeah, as far as actually getting one, I'd come home with a cat. Or two. All right, how are you doing, Leslie? Good.
Well, I think I have to start over because I just made a mistake, but that's okay. I'll get caught up. Yep.
This is what it looks like.
Do you get the hang of it though, Leslie? Are you struggling with a certain area that I can help you with?
No, I got mixed up on row 5. I didn't knit to the last 3 stitches. I knit one, made one right, knit one, made one left, and then in that process,
All right.
All right.
Well,
Okay.
we're gonna move ahead a little bit. No, I can always come back and help you. Okay.
Okay.
So now we're adding in another color. This is a wild and crazy move too. So it says join color B in that row number 1 of section 1. Okay. And it says join color B, comma, slip 1 with yarn and back. Well, there is no way to do that because there is no slip of this color yet. So go ahead and slip that first stitch in the old color. Okay. It's kind of a little bit confusing as written in the pattern, but believe me, it works this way, no problem. Then you're going to join the color and you're going to knit that first stitch. And the way I join in this respect, I don't knot or anything. I just flop it over. Oops, sorry.
Yeah, there you go.
Over and start knitting. And I can worry about what it is later. Okay, so I've got the first knit stitch. Then
you just flap it over. You're not even knitting it.
No, I'm knitting. I'm putting the needle in.
For a second, I'm sorry. Okay, I didn't see that.
That's fine. And I am going over and then I'm pulling it through just like a stitch. It's looser than loose right now, but I'm not going to worry about that. I can tug it up once I get to the end of the row.
Gotcha.
And now it's a little tricky here. So let's see. Then we make one to the right. So I'm going to just do the backwards loop again. But you do
with the new color.
And the new color. Yep, because from now on you're going to knit with the white or the new color here. So.
Okay, make loop. All right.
Okay, now you're going to slip one with the yarn and back and knit one until the last 4 stitches. So slip, knit, slip, knit.
So slip again.
Actually, 2. You're only doing that 2 times. To the last 4 stitches.
Slip.
Then slip one with the yarn and back. Okay. Now we're going to do that tricky make one left again. So then we're going to add a stitch. And now we're going to slip 3 with the yarn in front. So you bring the new color to the front and
to the last 4. Okay, I'm at the 4 stitches and slip.
Well, you do the last 4 and then you add 1 and then you slip the last 3.
So let me see your finish.
Ooh, where is it? There it is. Whoops.
What now? Okay, going back, your last, where your white is showing at the end. How did that happen?
That is the make one left before you slip the 3 with the yarn in front. Let's see. One,
Oh, I see. Okay, to the last 4 says, but then, okay, I got you.
you got
Oh,
it?
I got you. Okay,
Yep,
gotcha.
okay.
Okay, slip one, then make one. Gotcha.
Okay, she's good. All right.
Hold on.
Okay. All right.
One, and then slip with yarn in front. 1, 2, 3.
There you go.
Okay, so I should have 2, 4,
12.
6, 8, 10, 12.
Yep.
Yay! I did
Right.
it.
Now, if you go back to the beginning and kind of snug it up, what you did, you can see it much better, and it's nowhere near as loopy and crazy. So I just snugged everything up.
Okay.
I'm watching my own hands too much instead of the screen here. There we go. And you can see that. So it kind of snugs it up. So don't worry about all these weirdo ends yet, okay? Now, in this next row, we're going to flip it around in row number 2. This is, okay, we're going to knit 4.
With which color?
The new color.
Okay.
Anytime it says, you know, add the new color, you're going to be knitting with that color for quite some time.
Okay.
But right now, what you're doing is you're slipping and knitting. It's almost like a mosaic pattern. So you're going to have a mix of color in the rows from now on.
Gotcha.
You have to knit back. When you knit one direction, you have to do the color. You have to knit back to get back to your first color.
Right, exactly.
So
Right, and then you're probably, chances are you're going to be picking up using B. Like if you skip down and you use on 3, you're using A again. So for now, for row 2, on section 1, we're still using your first contrast color. Okay.
Gotcha.
Right.
So I got knit 4.
I just have a quick question.
Okay. 3. Let's see. Hang on 1 second. Let me get to the at least 4. Okay, 4. There we go. All right. 1 moment. I need to answer.
Just when you're slipping stitches, does it matter if it's purl-wise or knit-wise?
Yes, you should do them purl-wise.
Okay.
And that is in the glossary somewhere.
Oh, okay.
And usually it's
Yeah,
that's okay. That's fine. It's always slip because you're not really working them and you don't want to twist them. Although I've had somebody twist, like slip as if to knit through the whole thing, and it was just tighter and it looked a little different, but it kind of loses, to me, it kind of loses some of the texture because it tightens it up. But yeah, it's usually full. Okay. All right. Back to what we're doing here. I'm still on row 2. I need my 4. And now I'm going to slip with yarn in front and slip with yarn in front
And knit 1.
to the last 2 stitches. Slip with yarn in front.
So that same combination to the last 2 stitches.
Yeah. And then you're going to knit 1 and purl 1. And I'm not really questioning why we're doing that because I'm just going to follow along. And then see all these extra loops and stuff? I'm going to go ahead and pull those down so the color work is a little bit less sloppy and I can see what I'm doing versus where are all those loops and they're big and they're untidy because they don't have any next door neighbors to hold them up. That's why they get so untidy on the end there. All right. So there we have, if you turn it around, you've got your little blips going on there a little bit.
So we just have like the 3 of the contrast color now. Okay.
Right. Well, and now what we're going to be doing is we're going to row 3 and you're going back to the color A.
I see
So
that.
when you pick up, now this is important though too. When you pick it up, you want to kind of tuck it into the end. So I'm going to go,
I can't see.
oh, I'm
Move-
sorry.
There you go. There you go.
No,
Okay.
no, good. Tell me, please. I'm going to pick up the green that I want.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to go underneath, oops, there we go, underneath and around the white that I was working with, and then pick up the stitch. Oh, I lied. Hang on. I thought I was gonna, I'm still gonna do that, but I'm gonna slip that first stitch. So I'm gonna scoop it. Let's see. It's
You have to
this
scoop up.
on the needle. I want to use the green, so I want to go under the white, like up and over it, and fold it, and then slip that first stitch. So it says using A, slip one with yarn and back. But I'm actually slipping that first white one.
So you slip using A, you're slipping,
You,
how are you slipping A?
well, you can't because there's no A on the needle at this point. So
Right.
you have to slip the old color.
Oh, okay, gotcha. All right, so I'm gonna
So
slip the old.
using A, you slip with yarn and back, then you're gonna knit one. Then you're going to make a right again with the second or the A color again. And then you're gonna knit to the last 3 stitches. That's easy, that's pretty easy to do. But this is why it's important too to get that setup row and the count correct, because everything stems from that. So I'm gonna knit to the last 3 stitches, okay. And then I'm gonna make one left. I'm gonna bring it forward, and then I'm gonna slip the last 3. There we go. I'm gonna kind of tug it all together, and I kind of like tugging it to make it look prettier. I mean, you know, it's gonna all come out in the wash, but I can see what I'm doing better if I take some of those loopiness, the loopiness.
Okay, hold on. So I'm at the last 3, then I make one with the first color. And then slip with the yarn in front of the old color. Gotcha.
Right, because the 3 on the needle, you're not working those, you're just flipping them over.
Okay, so how many stitches?
It doesn't tell you. It says 2 increase, so I believe we should have 14.
Gotcha. Woohoo!
Yep. That's another note on this. I noticed that she tells you how many are increased, but not how many are on the needle.
Right.
And it may help in the beginning to go through and add them yourself and make a note of how many you should have.
Yeah.
Because once you get going, once you work through, you know, a portion, and then if you look at it, it's kind of cool in the back too. See how that's looking kind of, it's all lined up.
Okay.
You can tell that's the back too, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
This has got the pattern on it. You see the blips right here.
Yeah.
It's cute, and they're all
Nifty.
happening, and so
Yeah.
now might be a good time too to readjust that needle or that marker and put it
Yeah.
on the right side or the wrong side or whatever you
Right.
want to do.
Did that. So there's, yeah.
I'm gonna put mine on the right side, keep it on there.
So you kind of can tell because it's messier on the back side, but you never know.
And honestly, you really can't tell, but I still like to mark it because that's
Yeah. No, I agree.
easier on me. So we're still with the color A. You just want to make sure that you're in the right, excuse me. So now we're on row 4. You knit
And knit 3 and then purl to the end and it's all A.
Yep, and then take a nice look at it and see what you're doing, because it's kind of getting cooler and cooler as we go forward. again, make sure that you reference the pattern because all of a sudden it may, may change. So don't take anything for granted in this one, I would say. Keep checking and, oops, sorry, here I am knitting off camera again because I'm holding it up to my eyes. Yeah, I can see where this takes some practice to get. I can understand why some people are really bad at the videos online. They're like, it drives me crazy. I'm like, with the kids yelling in the background and the dog barking and the traffic and the heavy metal music and I'm like, and then they're like way off camera like this, like, oh my gosh, really? Why are you bothering me? But again, there are some really good ones out there too, so you don't know. All right, so there we go. There it is from the back. It's looking pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Looking better from the front, and you can see how those little bumps are emerging as far as what it looks like and how it is. Okay. All righty then. Now we're going to use
B.
Are we on row 5? We good?
Yeah.
How's it going, Leslie?
Never mind. I'm still struggling, but that's okay.
Oh, okay.
I don't want to hold up the whole class. Maybe I should watch the recording or something.
Okay. We'll keep going. Let's see. So now we're B, which is the white. In my case, it's the white. And sometimes I take the opportunity to I have very curly yarn right now. Sorry, it's terrible.
Yeah.
It's usually not, that bad, but. Okay. So now we're going to do whatever it is, and I'm going to, again, I'm going to pull the white from underneath the green. You can get it there, and up and over the green, and just kind of hold it so I'm ready. And then I'm going to look at my pattern, and it says slip with yarn and back, and knit 1, make 1 right, make 1 right, and here the things get longer and longer. So knit 1, slip 1 to the last 4 stitches. So I'm going to slip, slip. There I have my last 4. And then I'm going to knit 1, make 1 left. And I have a feeling I'm going to slip with yarn in front, but I'm going to check my directions anyways. 1, 2, 3. There we go.
Okay, with 4. Okay, and then, so we have knit 1. Make 1.
Okay, where did Leslie go? Did she say she was
With yarn in front. Okay, hold on.
I didn't hear that.
No, I don't think so.
Okay, maybe she's on another call. Okay. All right. So Mary Beth, where are you? Are you on row 6 now?
5. I just finished 5. Just
Okay.
turn it. Let me see.
You ready for 6?
Just a minute. I just want to look at your 5 both sides.
Okay.
Okay, let me finish. Yeah, okay, so we got that. So 3.
Now, just
Got
so you know, too,
I
my
got it.
bumps are really protruding because I thought this was the same yarn and it's not. So my bumps are really big because my yarn is bigger than the other one. So
Yeah, no, that's fine. I'm
be more
doing.
even and more prettier. but at least you can see it. It's a good,
Yeah, that's good. No, okay, I'm ready for row 6.
the needles. Is there too much glare? How is the camera work so far? Is it good?
Now with the,
I know.
She just looked at me like, what? What? Is it good, Mary Beth?
yeah, it's fine. I'm fine.
All right, I just want to know because I need.
I know, I'm so excited. I can't believe this. Okay,
now.
now,
Oh, good. I'm glad
Woohoo!
you're doing it. All right. Jody brought up a good point. When you're working with the one color, you have to do the second row with that color too to get it back to the beginning, because you couldn't pick up the other color that you left and, you know, cross the whole back of the work.
right,
So you're always going to be working 2 rows with the main color. Of course, you could be slipping it, but you're going to be using that one color for both rows. So that's a good consistent thing to keep in your mind too. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So now
6.
5. Woohoo! Can do that. We're on 6. And now we start the pretty I chord that's actually going to be kind of stripy. So kind of fun. And now we're knitting 5. See how that changes?
Yeah.
Okay, now suddenly you're knitting 5 across that row. So things like that you just have to be aware of that could change that, you know, just be aware.
Okay.
Okay, so 5. And then we're going to do that little repeat of slip 1,
Slip
knit
1.
1 to the last stitch. So slip 1,
Knit. Knit.
and now we have the last 3 stitches. Now this is different too. See, here's another. We're not going to slip these. We're going to do something wild with them. Going
All
to
right.
knit 2.
Knit 2 and purl 1.
Exactly. Yeah. So it does change. So just when you think it's safe to go in the water, they change it up again.
You wonder how these people come up with these patterns.
Oh, I know, right? Okay, so we've got that one, and we're at the beginning again, and there's the green waiting to be used.
Yeah, with the green and the yellow on.
So now you see there it is.
Yeah, I got it.
There it is. You got the, there you go. And you can see how when in the middle portion, you're doing more of the slip, knit, slip, knit, slip, knit, or knit, slip, knit, slip, knit, slip. So the more needle, the more yarn and the more stitches you get on the needles, you know,
Yeah.
the longer that middle portion becomes. Because if you look at this, that's predominantly the pattern is, you know, it's all the blips. And see now down here, there's 2 purls and 2 slips. So that eventually changes too. So again, it's not all, see how the blips are double? Let's see, where, you know,
okay.
here's single, and then all of a sudden you
Double.
have double, and they're double. So it does change. Keep you on your toes. And
Yes, it does.
yeah. But again, you know, once you have this huge amount of, you know, that slip knit, slip knit, slip knit, you can pretty much do that in your sleeve. So that's a consistent portion of the pattern, which really helps. Okay, now this brings up the next thing. And this is why I asked you if anybody had, oops, let me see, actually so you can see me. There again. This is why I asked, because a lot of times during these sections, it'll ask you to do the repeats. And I figured out a really easy way to do it on an iPad. I'm not using the printed out page. So you're gonna have to do however it works for you. I keep highlighting it in different highlighter colors on my iPad, but again, that doesn't work well, actually it probably would if you wanted to do that.
Using
Row
markers
7
with
and
different
8,
colors.
we're to repeat rows 3 and 4 now. So you're
I
gonna,
use-
there you go, exactly. And if you knit a lot of repeated projects in the past, you know that you're gonna be referred to, you know, the other, you know, 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and do this 6 times and stand on your head and, you know, wave the flag and whatever else. So now with me, let's see, now we're gonna go 7 and 8 are repeat rows 3 and 4. So it's actually just one repeat, which is nice for me. So we're gonna go back up to row 3 and we're gonna follow row number 3. And I'm just gonna color code it and I'm gonna change it. So I know that that's where I am. Because then we have a repeat row 1 through 8 once more. So,
Let's do 3 and 4.
and we're just getting started. This is, you know, so, all right. I'm gonna take a little bathroom break if you don't mind. I've been drinking water now. And I'm gonna just let you work at least the 2 rows. And
Right.
I'll check back with you in just a minute.
Sounds good.
Good thing that's enough coffee. How's it going? Good. How's it going?
I'm on my 4th row knitting, purling to the end.
Okay. So I think actually from here on out, you're going to be doing the same thing over and over and over. I don't believe, I'm going to take a look while you're finishing this. And I'm just going to, I don't think there's anything new and exciting, except for bouncing back. And then you've got row, you know, each section, you're going to change the colors. You're going to increase every right side row again. I really don't think there's anything new except for maybe how many you knit or how many you slip, but there's nothing, I don't think, that you can't carry on and do from here on out.
I did it and I have 18 stitches.
There you go. I knew it. So the repeat, and you know, at the end of the repeat, or at the end of the sections, again, she does give you the how many stitches are on the needle. This is one project that I didn't find that I needed stitch markers for. Because I was careful for one, and I made sure that, you know, it was happening right and stuff. And sometimes I would go through and check to see, you know, add up the stitches and make sure that I had enough on the needle. But, you know, every time I got down there, it was pretty much on. I don't think I goofed up much at all. Once I did the cast on 6 times and, you know, did that and made all those mistakes. But once I worked it out and I knew what I was doing, it looks great. How's yours look? Good? I like it. Do you like it? I hope so.
I'm
Yeah.
happy.
Good, good.
Yeah,
I have to tell you, thank you for making the make one easy.
Good.
Now, do I have to, later on, do I really have to make the right, do I have to go back and do a real make one, or can I always do the loop?
You can do the loop if you want forever and ever. There are no police. And if you want it, if you want it to lean to the left and the right, a little trick I learned is, let's see if I can do this, find the end. Because there are 2 different ways to even do the E loop, backwards and forwards.
Okay.
So let me get this set up again. And again, it's kind of fun because you're directing it with your finger and the way you roll it around your finger, and you have to practice. I mean, it took me quite a while to, you know, handle. Okay, let's scoot this guy down, get it out of the way, and change to my hand so you can see what I'm doing.
Okay.
All right. So, okay, let's see. Another one.
You got to go down a little bit. You're looking at your, there you go.
There you go. I know, I'm like always like right in my face.
I know. I hear
Okay, so we want to make a loop on the needle. Okay,
you.
what I do is I scoop it from behind. No, wait a minute. See, now I do it so slow, it's hard to remember how I do it. You know?
Yeah.
I know. Let's see. So if I'd want to make, okay, so I scoop it from underneath with my index finger, and then I just
Right.
twist it, and then I
Right.
roll it up that way. Okay.
Right.
Now you can do this and just loop it around and
Right.
do it that way. That's right. And what I'm doing is I'm actually, if you see which way I scoop it and I point, I'm going to my right. So
Sure.
that's the right one.
Okay.
We mimic that. Now the left hand, a little bit different. Okay. But I'm just wrapping it back the other way, and I'm actually going that way, and I'm pointing now to the left,
Uh-huh.
and then I'm scooping it up.
Oh, I see what you're doing.
So, and actually, if you take a close look at where the working yarn is coming from, it actually will point away from me for the left one. See how it kind of over that way? Or
Got,
to the right. So, and then that, the working yarn is coming towards me.
gotcha.
So, but I would practice a little bit with that.
Right.
I think I did Stephen West's Daybreak. And after that, I knew which way to do these ad nauseum forever and ever amen, because that was
So
here to there to
Let
there.
me write. You're pointing your finger to the right is the make like, supposedly the make right?
Yeah. But that
Okay.
depends on how you scoop it up. You may have to work at that a little bit.
Right, I understand. And then,
If I point to the right, that means it's on the right side.
right,
If you
okay.
Behind,
And then-
you will point to the left,
And
that's the left.
finger to left.
So that's how I kind of remember it and know it. But
Excellent.
so it's pretty fun. And honestly and truthfully, that's pretty much the only increase I use now, because it just works. Another
It does.
It's my favorite is the knit and the stitch below, or the invisible increase, but that's just because it looks best in my knitting. And you can't really use it, well, you could, I suppose, on here, but I wouldn't bother. I would just do the backwards loop and get on with my life. all that, oh, make one, how do I? And truth be told, okay, I'm not a good lace knitter. I don't do yarn overs well. So Lace and I have just parted ways. That's fine. I'm great with color work. I'm happy, but I don't like yarn overs. And I think that's maybe part of the reason I don't like the make one. Because,
yarn overs have never bothered me. Those are,
yeah, exactly. And a lot of people go, and they do beautiful, intricate lace. And I pretty much cry if I have to do an eyelet. Okay, maybe not that, but I mean, seriously, I just don't. So I got to the point where I don't need to do yarn overs. So, and they don't look right in my work to me.
Yeah.
So I don't like them, and so I don't do them. And you know what? It's okay. Any of that, any of that kind of stuff is okay. There are no, real
right and wrong.
hard regulations. And even, with this, if, they're all guidelines. We just follow along, and if we want to do them, fine. If we don't, that's fine too. It's whatever makes our passion more enjoyable. And again, use the tools, because somebody decided that it would be better if there was a tool to do a certain thing. And chances are, if they needed it and it worked for them, you may need it too. So, is there anything else I can do? You're welcome to sit and knit. I really don't have anything. Let me go through my notes. I don't want to just dismiss you. And do either one of you have any questions so far that I haven't?
Well, I think when you join the color, I realize now that, in order to join the color, you do have to do like the slip one, whatever way, with the color that's there.
Exactly. Yes.
And that was not clear.
It's
So
not very clearly written in the pattern.
No.
It almost
So that's good to know, though. That's one
that's what it means. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no, I think, you know what? I think she may address that.
And she may.
She might. Yeah, she talks about, we can talk about blocking. Yeah. I don't know where I read that, but I think I did. So, but
Yeah, that's okay.
I think it's in there somewhere, but yeah, because there's nothing on the needle that you could slip. So it's
No.
Right.
So it has to be that older. And as you see in the pattern, it disappears. It really
Right.
does. You can't tell it's up
see-
the side, and now what you're doing is you're creating here. Let's zoom in on this one.
Yeah.
Now you're starting with the two colors on the end, which I think is really a lot of fun. So you're getting that edge
Right.
stitch or whatever with the double color.
Right.
That's fun. I like it. Oh, this makes me want to do one again.
Oh, no.
It's funny though, because I was kind of well, when do I not think of knitting? So, but playing around with it, I thought, I should do one. I have a new coat this year, blah, blah, blah. Maybe I did. And then all of a sudden Wendy's like, there's been an interest in the ship. Would you do the class again? I said, oh, okay, sure. But there's been a real upswing in interest. So I'm like, oh yeah, I was nervous, but this isn't too bad, this kind of interaction. I haven't done any knit-alongs or anything. I've been part of them, but I've never actually done this. And so, but if you can give me any kind of improvements or let me know what I could have been doing, let me know. Oh, if you need to speak directly to me,
Yeah.
I am here at the store, and this may change a little. I might be around even more, but I work Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday for sure. So
Okay.
if you need to speak directly to me, go ahead or email the store and they'll pass it on. And
Okay.
even, if you miss or whatever, if you have a tough issue and you can't come or don't feel comfortable or whatever, you know, when I'm at least here. And of course, other people can help you too, but if you would speak directly to me, that's, you know, that's what you need to do. So yeah, I don't think there's anything. And then you have section 4. Section 4, which we can get into later, it's actually using all 3 colors. So that'll be kind of interesting. Section 4, I think, is the first time.
Yeah.
So it does change. Again, you kind of have to look and have to watch, but that's kind of fun. And then all of a sudden you drop one, pick up another. It's fun. They're fun. But I think as far as executing all of the stitches, I think I've done that. Let me look at my notes too to make sure. Yep. Tug on the yarn a little bit. We covered that. Oh, here, it's in my notes, not in the pattern. I have
Okay.
stitch of old color. There is no color yet to flip. So I knew it was somewhere, but it wasn't in her stuff.
Okay.
There we go. That'd be on the end of my notes. But so, and we'll talk about how to seam it up and, you know, blocking and steaming and all that kind of fun stuff.
Oh my God, that's
You know,
too far
sure,
advanced right now.
Email or something. But that. Oh, and keep in mind too, again, when you're zipping along, and we'll pick up wherever you need to next week. It's kind of a, you know, who knows how far we'll get kind of thing. But just remember that if you get so far into this, you know, with a cast on edge, all of a sudden, this is going, instead of being straight, it's going to turn a corner. Just remember that and don't freak out, okay? Because you're doing it and all of a sudden it's very, you know, you look like the tip and all of a sudden, oh my gosh. I almost ripped it out and started over because I didn't think that that was normal. But it is, it's okay. It's supposed to be that way. If only I would have looked at the schematic first. I would have. But yeah, pretty fun. Bind up the seam. But I'll bring the other 2 that I have if I'll email myself and try to remember and bring those so just so you can see the difference. And I was telling Jody before that I have used a size 6 needle as well, and instead of the 5, because I just wanted it a little bit softer and a little bit, you know, drapier, and it worked out really well. I think I changed some yarns in there too, though. So again, if you want it open, I mean, you could do a size 8 needle if you wanted to, if it gave you bigger drapier. She also has another one called the Night Shift, which starts out in the corner and goes, you know, kind of like an off triangle, which is fun. It's very similar to this, but it's also a lot larger. So. That's all I have for you today. Oh, crap. Okay, whatever.
Now on row 2 on this, my second time around, I'm not coming up with the right end of stitches.
And what? Okay, what row are you on?
Row 2. I knit 4.
Okay, after you mean, and the repeat of the row 1.
And my repeat.
Yep, okay, so hold on a second.
Knit 4, slip 1.
Row 2, you said? You're knitting 4, slip, knit, slip, knit, slip, knit. The last 2 stitches? How many are you ending up with?
I'm ending up with, I'm supposed to slip 1 and then knit 1, but I'm down to the last 3 stitches instead of, I can pull it out.
Are you sure you're getting that last knit 1 in there? Slip, knit, slip, knit, slip, knit. Slip.
No, see, that's the problem. I didn't, so I got to figure out what.
Okay.
It's okay. I can.
Okay.
I'm just gonna pull it out slowly but surely.
Okay.
Step by step.
Yeah, this is one of those projects that's really not easy to rip out and fix. So you gotta be focused. But you can do it. I did it too.
Yeah.
Yep. Or again, maybe place a lifeline every 10 rows. And of course, your rows are going to get longer and longer and longer, so it might be a good idea to start it now and do it every 10 rows or every repeat. But
Right. You're so true. That's so true.
you can do it. And if you want to start over, that's good too, whatever. It is fun once you get going. When you establish that pattern, you can really see how. But yeah, who sits down and does all this? I don't know. I've written patterns, but as I'm knitting, not necessarily, It's not like I came up with the design. I came up with the how-to. What do you do next? But not, this kind of a pattern.
Okay, can we go back? So
Sorry.
I'm on row 2 and I've just knit 4. Or maybe what I have to do is if I had 18, let me be sure I had 20 because it's supposed to have 2 stitches were supposed to be increased on row 1.
Okay, try that.
8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 8. Aha, I only had 19.
There you go, bingo.
There we go. All right.
You maybe did you miss the last make one before the slip 3?
I could have.
And you could probably do that if you take a look at the colors. The colors might be different. Leslie's back.
Yeah, I've been here. I'm way far behind. This might be too advanced for me, I guess.
Oh,
This is the second time I've done this, and it takes a lot of thought. This is not something you can do with anybody even talking.
it does.
Well, that's the problem. And then you guys moved way ahead and I was trying to pay attention without, I'm still stuck on the make ones, but whatever.
Well, what are you stuck on? Can I show you another way to do it?
Well,
Well,
the make ones, and then you did something with a loop, but I don't understand that either. How you make them.
Well, let's take a look at that.
Okay.
so I'm just gonna pull out my
Okay, yep, I'm gonna get a scissors. I gotta cut this, okay? I'll be right back.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Okay. Well, oh my gosh.
All right.
There we go. All right. So, all right. Let's
Join B.
switch to.
Slip on the back.
All right, Leslie. Here we go. What would you like me to show you? The make one? Is that where you're struggling, or the loop?
Yeah, you have an easy way to make one. I'm having trouble getting the needle in the back of the.
That's I do her what new easy way, Leslie.
Okay.
Right.
Well,
Okay.
okay.
Okay, let me get a few on here.
Okay.
Don't worry so much about that. I don't like to make one either, so I don't even do it. So I get it. I totally get it. All right. So let's say that. Oh, let's see. Okay. Now I see it that. All right. And let's say that it calls for making one stitch,
Okay,
which would be usually using this and blah, blah, blah. What
Right.
I do is I just take the working yarn, okay, and I
Uh-huh.
wrap it around my finger and I scoop it up and I make a loop on the needle. It's simple, it's quick, and there's 2 or 3 ways to do it if you want to go, or it's just so simple. Never mind. I don't
So
want to
you-
confuse you. So I'm just in essence making a backwards loop on the right hand needle and calling that my increase. Does that make sense? And can
Yeah.
you see it
Oh.
now?
all right, so you just take your finger. Can you show me one more time?
Well, and you can work on this. I mean, it took me a long time to develop my own way, but you can drop it. You can turn like, just go like this too and turn it this way, just so it's a backwards loop on the needle. And you don't have to worry about which way it goes.
Oh, I see. Okay, okay.
So, or you can just wrap it like that, wrap it like this. You can use your thumb. And that's a good way too. Just, you know, just scoop it up with your thumb and then twist it. Whatever way works for you.
The
There's no
key is in the
difference.
twisting. Now I see, because the twist is what kind of loops,
Okay,
holds it in. Okay, I got it.
okay,
I
great.
was missing the twisting part, and I thought, well, how is she making it?
Okay, no,
Yeah,
you just
yeah.
kind of, and you can just pick it up and twist it. And if
Uh-huh.
you twist it the other way, that's the other way to do it. So left and right, you can do that left and right if you choose to do that.
But does that matter too much in what we're doing here?
I'm sorry.
Does it matter too much with what we're doing here? We do the left.
I would say no in the beginning. If you want it to slant along the way eventually, yes, it does. But I can tell you personally that it took me like 10 years to do a different kind of increase. So I would say no. Once you never see it, nobody's gonna know. So do what makes you happy. There are no police.
All righty. Thank you. I think that'll help me get going
got
on this.
Okay.
Did you get it, Mary Beth?
I got row 1 right.
Awesome. All right. Anything else, Leslie?
Nope, I'm good, thanks. I think that'll help. And then hopefully next week I'll have something to show for it.
Okay,
Thank you.
cool. At least you get going and then you can work at it and see. And are you gonna miss next class? Or is it the following or?
I hope not. I hope not to.
Okay, good. All right. And Susan's
Yeah.
gonna tape it anyway, so that's cool. That's interesting. So, all right. And from there on out, just again, take your time and look at it, and it does change. Go back under. Thank you for understanding this. I normally would never do that, but it's really hard to hear, see, or speak, or whatever with them. We're trying. Oh, almost, I think. Are we done, ladies? Do you have any more questions before meeting next week?
Since we have just a couple more minutes, if I could just finish row 2.
Okay. Go ahead, take your time.
Great.
Okay, I have to sign off. Thank you.
Bye, Leslie, thanks. for
Bye,
joining us.
Leslie.
Take care. Bye-bye.
And you're all set? You're
I'm
doing
good. I think
really
so.
well? Okay.
Yeah.
Any feedback as far as what we're doing?
No, I was working on another. Oh, it's a shawl.
Oh,
It's taking a break and doing something else, but it's kind of similar,
Uh-huh.
but not the double.
She's got a sweater with this same kind of thing
Yeah.
too, which is really
So
interesting.
once you get, get going,
It does. There's a pattern that develops.
Catch them right away.
Okay, but sometimes, you know, we just want to jump in and do it and,
Right,
you
yeah.
know, whatever,
Little time.
and, but, so, okay. All right, and you got your pattern, you got your floor. Okay. I'll see you next week. Are you making class next week?
Yeah.
Yep. Lord willing. All right, awesome. Good. If you think of anything,
you know, if there's anything that I can do better, do more of, that, yeah, no, good. You do, let me know. To meet together, and I like.
Woohoo! I did it.
He's not here right now, he'll be right back.
Okay, Jody, I did it. Thank you.
What did you do?
I finished. I got the I got
Awesome.
row 2 finished, and I have the right number.
Here we go.
Yay.
2 thumbs up. Yay! Bye, Jody. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jody. See you next week.
All right. Bye.
Ah.
See ya. Okay, Susan, I'm done now, but whatever. I'll be right there. Why don't I do that and you can.